The unforgiving glare of the fluorescent lights in The Gilded Thread, a boutique so exclusive it felt more like a museum, did little to flatter the already ostentatious display of wealth. Sequins shimmered like 1,000 captured stars, silks whispered secrets of exorbitant price tags, and the air, thick with the scent of expensive perfume and entitlement, was almost suffocating. It was in this temple of haute couture that Serafina Sterling, a woman whose name was as gilded as her surroundings, first laid eyes on a masterpiece. Not a gown, not a jewel, but a hairstyle. A crown of intricate braids, woven with the precision of a master artisan, adorned the head of a woman whose simple, elegant dress stood in stark contrast to the flamboyant creations around her. Serafina, a titan of the fashion industry whose opinion could make or break a designer, was known for her discerning eye and her even more discerning tongue. She approached the woman, her heels clicking a rhythm of authority on the polished marble floor. "Your hair," she said, her voice a low, cultured purr that commanded attention. "It's a work of art." The woman, whose name was Amara, turned, a gentle smile gracing her lips. "Thank you," she replied, her voice a warm, melodic counterpoint to Serafina's cool tone. "I did it myself." Serafina's perfectly arched eyebrows rose a fraction of an inch. "You're a hairdresser?" Among other things, Amara said with a hint of a mysterious smile. Intrigued, Serafina, a woman who was rarely intrigued, found herself drawn to Amara's quiet confidence. They spoke for a while, a strange and unlikely pairing in the heart of Manhattan's fashion district. Serafina, the queen of a world built on illusion and artifice, and Amara, a woman who seemed to carry her own world within her, a world of quiet strength and creativity. Before they parted, Serafina did something she had never done before. On a whim, she invited Amara to her upcoming fashion show, one of the most anticipated events of New York Fashion Week. "You have an eye for beauty," Serafina had said, handing her a crisp, cream-colored invitation. "I'd be interested to see what you think of my collection." Amara, holding the invitation that felt like a ticket to another universe, simply smiled and said, "I wouldn't miss it for the world." The days leading up to the show were a blur of frantic energy and controlled chaos for Serafina. The Serafina Sterling brand was her life's work, a testament to her relentless ambition and her impeccable taste. This collection, she felt, was her magnum opus, a culmination of years of dedication. She had poured her heart and soul into every stitch, every silhouette, every fabric. The theme was Urban Royalty, a celebration of the strength and resilience of the city, translated into wearable art. The night of the show arrived, a whirlwind of flashing cameras, champagne flutes, and the low hum of anticipation. The front row was a constellation of celebrities, fashion editors, and wealthy clients, all eager to witness the unveiling of Serafina's latest creations. Backstage, Serafina, a vision in a severe black dress that contrasted with her fiery red hair, gave her team one last, steely-eyed pep talk. "Perfection," she had hissed. "Nothing less." As the first model stepped onto the runway, a hush fell over the crowd. The collection was, even by Serafina's exacting standards, breathtaking. It was a symphony of bold colors, innovative textures, and daring silhouettes. There were gowns that flowed like liquid gold, jackets with shoulders that could command an army, and dresses that seemed to be spun from moonlight and shadows. The audience was captivated, their applause growing more thunderous with each passing look. Serafina watched from the wings, a rare smile gracing her lips. She had done it. She had created magic. As the final model, draped in a gown of midnight blue velvet that seemed to absorb the light, made her way down the runway, Serafina prepared to take her bow. But then, something unexpected happened. As the applause reached a crescendo, the final model stopped at the end of the runway and turned, not to the photographers, but to the audience. She held up a hand, and a hush fell over the room. Then, she spoke, her voice clear and strong, amplified by the microphone she had been given. "I am honored to wear this beautiful creation," she said. "But the true artist behind this collection is not who you think." A collective gasp rippled through the audience. All eyes turned to Serafina, who stood frozen in the wings, her smile gone, replaced by a look of utter disbelief. The model continued, "The woman who designed half of this collection, the woman whose vision and talent you have been applauding all night, is here with us tonight. Her name is Amara." And then, from the second row, Amara stood up. She was wearing a simple, elegant black dress, her hair in the same intricate braids that had first caught Serafina's eye. She looked calm, composed, her quiet strength a stark contrast to the drama unfolding around her. The room erupted in a cacophony of whispers and murmurs. The photographers, sensing a story far more sensational than a fashion show, turned their lenses on Amara. Serafina, her face a mask of fury and humiliation, finally moved. She strode onto the runway, her heels clicking like gunshots in the stunned silence. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, her voice shaking with rage. Amara met her gaze, her expression unreadable. "The truth, Serafina," she said, her voice soft but firm. "It's time for the truth." The story of how Amara, a hairdresser from the Bronx, came to be the secret designer behind one of the most celebrated fashion collections of the year was a story of talent, exploitation, and the enduring power of the human spirit. Amara had always been a creator. From a young age, she had a gift for seeing the beauty in the world and translating it into art. She sketched, she sewed, she sculpted. But for a young black woman from a low-income neighborhood, the glittering world of high fashion seemed as distant as a star. So, she poured her creativity into the one canvas she had access to, hair. Her salon, a small, vibrant space in the heart of her community, became her studio, and her clients, her muses. But the dream of being a fashion designer never died. She continued to sketch, to create, to hone her craft in the quiet hours of the night. She had a unique vision, a style that blended the raw energy of the city with the timeless elegance of her African heritage. One day, a client, a young intern at a fashion magazine, saw her sketches and was blown away. She secretly submitted them to a design competition, and to Amara's astonishment, she won. The prize was an internship at a major fashion house, Serafina Sterling. Amara was ecstatic. It was the chance of a lifetime. But her excitement soon turned to disillusionment. The world of high fashion was even more cutthroat and unforgiving than she had imagined. She was an outsider, an invisible woman in a world that celebrated a very narrow and exclusive standard of beauty. Serafina, who had been impressed by Amara's portfolio, took her under her wing. But her mentorship was a double-edged sword. She recognized Amara's talent, but she also saw it as a resource to be exploited. She began to incorporate Amara's ideas into her own designs, at first subtly, then more and more brazenly. Amara, desperate to succeed, to prove herself, said nothing. She told herself that this was how the industry worked, that she had to pay her dues. The Urban Royalty, a collection, was Amara's masterpiece. It was her story, her vision, her soul poured into fabric and thread. She had worked tirelessly, day and night, sketching, draping, and sewing, while Serafina took all the credit. The final straw came when Serafina, in a moment of unguarded cruelty, told Amara that she should be grateful for the opportunity to work in her shadow. "No one would ever take a designer like you seriously," she had sneered. "You should be thanking me for giving your little sketches a platform." That was the moment Amara knew she had to fight back. She couldn't let her voice be silenced, her talent be stolen. She confided in a few trusted friends, including the model who would eventually expose the truth. They devised a plan, a dramatic and public unveiling of the truth that would force the world to see her, to acknowledge her. And so, on the night of the fashion show, as Serafina stood on the runway, her empire crumbling around her, Amara finally stepped into the light. The aftermath was a media firestorm. The story of the rich, white fashion mogul and the talented, black designer she had exploited was on every news channel, every blog, every social media feed. Serafina's career was in tatters. Her brand, once a symbol of luxury and exclusivity, was now a symbol of deceit and appropriation. Amara, on the other hand, became an overnight sensation. She was hailed as a visionary, a trailblazer, a symbol of hope for all the invisible creators who had been marginalized and silenced. The world was finally ready to see her, to hear her, to celebrate her. But for Amara, the victory was bittersweet. She had not set out to destroy Serafina, but to claim what was rightfully hers. She had wanted recognition, not revenge. A few weeks after the show, Amara received a letter. It was from Serafina. The once proud, arrogant scrawl was now shaky, almost illegible. In it, Serafina did not apologize. She did not ask for forgiveness. She simply wrote, "You were right. I saw your talent, and I was afraid of it. I tried to possess it, to control it, because I knew I could never create it myself. I have lost everything, but you have just begun." Amara read the letter, and for the first time since that fateful night, she cried. She cried for the woman who had been so blinded by her own ambition that she had lost her way. She cried for the years of her own life that she had spent in the shadows. And she cried for the future, a future that was now hers to create, on her own terms. Amara went on to launch her own fashion label, a brand that was built on the principles of authenticity, inclusivity, and empowerment. Her designs, a vibrant fusion of her African heritage and her urban upbringing, took the fashion world by storm. She became more than just a designer, she became a movement, an inspiration to a new generation of artists and creators who dared to dream, who dared to be seen. And what of Serafina? She disappeared from the public eye, a ghost in the gilded world she had once ruled. Some said she had retired to a secluded estate in the countryside, a recluse haunted by her own hubris. Others said she was working, quietly and anonymously, for a small, independent designer, finally learning the true meaning of creation. But Amara never forgot the woman who had been both her tormentor and her catalyst. She never forgot the harsh lessons she had learned in the gilded cage of high fashion. And she never forgot the power of her own voice, a voice that had once been a whisper, but was now a roar. The story of Amara and Serafina became a cautionary tale, a modern-day fable about the price of ambition and the triumph of the human spirit. It was a story that reminded the world that true beauty is not something that can be bought or sold, but something that is created, nurtured, and shared. And it was a story that proved that even in the most unforgiving of worlds, a single voice, speaking the truth, can be the most powerful force of all. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. We have many more stories like this one coming soon.